Chief Justice of Nigeria cannot be cowed, or any part of the judiciary to be cowed or be intimidated by any petition or by any allegation.
Code of Conduct Tribunal sitting in Abuja has adjourned the ongoing trial of Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onoim, to Tuesday, 22nd January, on the ground that he was not properly served. Onoim, who was absent in the court, was to be arraigned at the tribunal on a 6-count charge bordering principally on failure to declare his asset and operating a foreign account. The prosecution counsel, led by Aliu Umar San, had argued that the CJN, who directed his personal assistant to receive the served notice, should have made himself available in court, which the defense counsel, Wale Olanipekum San, stated that the procedure for serving was not adhered to based on the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, insisting that the Chief Justice was not personally served.
And what happened to the staff of the tribunal was that they went to him. He is the Chief Justice of Nigeria, and he directed them to give the summons and the charge to his PA. These boys, I don't think even the chairman of the tribunal, when he gets to that he will refuse to obey the directions of the person, the defendant. So they did. We were expecting him to own up to say, yes, I was served. But they now come and said he was not personally served. The law is that he must be served personally in criminal or quasi-criminal matter. So if they are demanding for their right, then you cannot accuse them of stalling the trial. But you can say somebody has refused to own up the direction that he gave junior officers in his department. Because the prosecutor is supposed to bring a person to court so that you give him fairness, fair hearing, so that whatever you say or do, you understand he will be there in a criminal matter. In an appeal at the Court of Appeal or Supreme Court, a person appealing a criminal matter does not have to be there, and the court can go ahead. But where evidence is being adduced, where the man will be the person to say guilty or not guilty, he has to be there.
The law of how each person in Nigeria, particularly an office holder, ought to be arraigned and how it ought to be done is there in the Constitution. The Constitution has not been followed. And we cannot manufacture a precedent. We cannot manufacture a procedure. The CJN is an officer of NJC. And if CJN is to be arraigned, if he's accused of anything, the way to go about it is not, first of all, to bring him before a tribunal. You have to go to NJC, you have to go to the Senate.
In Abuja, LM Chukwemeka reports.
Governors of the 5 states in the south of Nigeria have asked the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Walter Onoim, to ignore the court summon by the Code of Conduct Bureau. The governor stated this in a communique issued at the end of an emergency meeting held in Abuja. The communique was read by Seraki Dixon, governor of Bayelsa State. According to the governors, the action against the CJN is the reinforcement that the Buhari administration had no regard for the sentiment of Nigeria, in particular the people of Niger Delta, and the rule of law. The communique read, the meeting deliberated on the recent happening at the Supreme Court involving the Chief Justice of the Federation, Justice Walter Onoim, and the resolve that the action against him constitute a setback to the gains of nation's democratic experience of 20 years. According to the court, we note that under Section 158, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution, the National Judicial Council has ample power to deal exhaustively with the matter pertaining to the allegation of the misconduct and discipline of judicial officers. Specifically, the NJC has the power and clear procedure for investigating allegation and recommendation appropriate sanction or disciplinary measure against judicial officials as matter of first instance before any further step. Therefore, we consider this step, which is directly aimed at humiliating the nation's highest judicial officer and prominent son of the region, as totally unacceptable, as it is reflective of the South-South story of endless marginalization and intimidation. The unceremonial removal of the former Acting Director General of the Department of State Service, Matthew Seifa, and the replacement is still very fresh. The governor stressed that they were not opposed to a fight against corruption, but noted that such an action must always be anchored on the rule of law. They also complained about the massive buildup of arms by APC leaders and members across the Niger Delta with the intent to cause mayhem and general breakdown of law and order during the election. The meeting was attended by the governor of Cross River, Rivers, Akwa Ibom, and Delta State. Senior Nigerian lawyer Femi Falana has called for the withdrawal of President Muhammadu Buhari-led federal government to withdraw the charge against the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Samuel Onoge. The federal government has said that on Monday, January 14, 2019, to arraign the CJN before the Justice Danladi Yakubu-led Code of Conduct Tribunal in Abuja on charges of failure to declare his assets as required by law and for operating bank domiciliary foreign currency. The charge against Justice Onege was filed and served on him on Friday at his official residence in Abuja, preparatory for his appearance at the tribunal. Falana described the move against Justice Onege as prescriptionary misadventure. He therefore called on the Justice Minister, Abubakar Malami, to immediately withdraw the charge. As reactions continue to trade the recent face-off between the Nigerian Army and the management of Daily Trust newspaper over a report published by the newspaper, no fewer than 25 civil society groups have called on the media outfit to apologize to the military. Daily Trust had recently published a report with the headline "Military Prepare Massive Operation to Retake Baga, Borno State from Boko Haram," a story which did not go down well with the military authority. Speaking on the development, a coalition of 25 civil society organizations demand for immediate apology from the media house over the damaging report. Comrade Ismail Shuaib, who spoke on behalf of the group at the press conference in Abuja, faulted the Daily Trust editorial for falling short of every standard expected of a national newspaper.
We therefore fault those foreign agencies, influencers, and their lackeys that rushed to condemn the action of the military without acknowledging that the infraction of newspaper will not have been tolerated in their own countries. In fact, no news organization will dare that in any country, since the patriotic response from its audience will automatically lead its demise. These same foreigners and organizations will have immediately distanced themselves from such newspaper and channeled their money elsewhere to consequently kill off the newspaper, which is way worse than the offending staff of the publication being invited to explain why they publish clarified information for the benefit of terrorism. For the benefit of terrorists. The inferior of joining the back wagon to criticize the Nigerian army is now over, so we should have the benefit of reviewing what has happened based on facts and logics.
Schwab also said the failure of the newspaper to retract the story and editorial sent a wrong signal to the world that it has moved from being a newspaper to a moderate Islamic in outlook. presidential candidate of the People Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, has promised to run a youth-driven administration if given the mandate in February 16 general election. Atiku gave the commitment at the PDP presidential campaign in Lafia, Nasarawa State capital. According to the presidential offer, the essence of running the youth-driven administration was to prepare them to garner experiences for effective governance.
Again, let me make this commitment, particularly to the youth and women of this country, not only of the state. I have said I have committed 40% of my government to the youth and 30% to women, making a total of 70%. This is because I want you to succeed us. And if we don't train you, if you don't give you the experience, you are not going to take over from us. Is that not correct? So let me ask you to be very, very, very sincere and truthful. Are you going to vote for PDP?
The national chairman of PDP, Uche Secondus, urged the people to vote for PDP in the forthcoming general election in order to end hunger, poverty, insecurity in the country.
Do you want a new president? Do you want a new president? So I have your approval to declare to you that come May 29, you will have a new president. And I declare that your new president, the incoming president of Nigeria, President Abubakar Atiku. No be so, no be so, Waziri Adamawa, no be so.
The president of the Senate, Bukola Saraki, called on the people of the state, especially the youth, to vote for the party and Atiku as the president to create massive job and reduce restiveness in the country.
This election is a very simple one, because in 2015, the APC and the government came and told us they will make our life better. Not be so? They said that don't worry, the security in the Northeast, they will restore it and there will be no problem of security. But today, there is security problem in Northeast, there is security problem in Northwest, there is security problem in North Central here too. Not be so? Have they performed? No. They told us that they will give all the youths, they said they will give you jobs, 3 million jobs. Instead, we have lost 10 million jobs. Did they perform? They said they will bring food. They said they will bring food. Is there food around? So, my dear people, this election is not about, as they say, it's not about Buhari, it's about, are you better off today? If you are not better off today, you will vote them out.
Other dignitaries at the Lafia rally include the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, and other party chieftains. As political campaign for general election continue to hot up across the country, the Catholic Archbishop of Abuja, Cardinal John Onayekun, has prayed for political class for peaceful power. Cardinal Onayekun offered the prayer at the Thanksgiving Mass marking the 60th birthday celebration of former Deputy Governor of Plateau State, Pauline Tallen, held at Holy Trinity Catholic Church, Abuja.
We want the good to be done, truth to prevail, justice, concern for the poor. These are the things that we pray for, and may the Lord grant it to us through Christ our Lord. Amen. So continue the journey, continue the campaign trails. That is part of the game, but please play the game well, I beg. At the end, let us all be friends and brothers through Christ our Lord. Amen.
At the birthday reception, the immediate past national chairman of the ruling party, APC, John Oyegun, extolled the quality of the celebrant.
She has the guts, she has the personality, she has the passion. That was very clear. Without even ever meeting you at all. And when I had the privilege of meeting you and confirming all of this,
in a chat with the Ben TV, the celebrant, Pauline Tallinn, was grateful to God for the privilege of life.
I am simply overwhelmed. I lack words to describe how I feel, but I give God all the glory. God has been awesome. God has been wonderful. God has been too gracious to me. Every breath I take is in thanksgiving to God.
Few of the friends of the celebrant describe her as friendly and lovely personality.
She's a fantastic woman, an ageless, beautiful lady, as you can see. I've known her for decades, and there are many sides to her. I can liken her to an elephant, depending on where you catch and where you touch. But I have these various frontiers of hers to discuss. Domestic. She is a fantastic human mother.
She happens to be our junior in our secondary school in Kano, as she said it earlier on. And she's been a very good lady. Since I came to Abuja as first lady, she has been with us all the time. So we've been in touch.